Let me start with a number: 78. 78% of Americans are currently living paycheck to paycheck. This group includes doctors, lawyers, and professionals earning well over $100,000 a year. Even at high income levels, a single interruption in pay can trigger an immediate crisis. Economists define this state as financial fragility. In a country with a $27 trillion GDP, the majority of the population lacks a basic buffer against the cost of living, leaving millions one missed check away from losing access to groceries or housing. This chart isolates the scale of that vulnerability. According to the Federal Reserve, 37% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency expense using cash or its equivalent. The margin for error is razor thin. While the median household has $8,000 in savings, their average monthly expenses exceed $5,000. For most families, that represents less than 60 days of survival runway. When high-income households are filing for bankruptcy during periods of economic growth, it suggests that the current crisis is a structural issue that cannot be solved by a higher salary alone. In the decades following World War II, a single income was often sufficient to buy a home, support a family of 4, and provide a stable path to retirement. That stability shifted in the 1980s as corporations began prioritizing shareholder profits over wage growth. To maintain their standard of living as purchasing power plateaued, Americans were encouraged to rely on the emerging convenience of high-interest consumer credit cards. The resulting gap is documented in this timeline. Between 1979 and 2020, corporate productivity grew by 70%. Middle-class households then faced a series of compounding shocks: the 2008 housing crash, a global pandemic, and a period of inflation that saw rent and grocery prices rise 6 times faster than average wages. These economic shifts created a system where the majority of the population remains financially dependent, generating a permanent stream of interest and profit for the institutions that provide their credit. Because basic financial mechanics aren't taught in schools, most workers default to lifestyle inflation. As their income grows, their spending increases to meet it, keeping their net worth at zero regardless of their job title. This is accelerated by the subscription model, which now drains an average of $219 per month from American bank accounts, often for digital services that go unused. This leads to the debt spiral. When an emergency occurs, it is charged to a credit card with an average interest rate of 21.5%. The compounding interest then consumes an increasing portion of future income, leaving even less money available for the next month. Passively hoping for money to be left over at the end of the month is a survival tactic. By its nature, survival mode focuses on the immediate present, which prevents the long-term planning required to build wealth. Our brains are biologically wired for present bias, instinctively favoring immediate purchases over future security. We quickly adapt to the pleasure of new things, leading us to constantly upgrade our lifestyle while the underlying financial stress remains unchanged. This stress often triggers the ostrich effect, a psychological reflex where people avoid looking at their bank statements or debt balances. However, avoiding the data allows the interest and leaks to grow faster. Social media compounds this by encouraging users to compare their daily reality to the curated highlights of others. In many cases, these digital displays of wealth are financed by the same debt cycles that keep the viewers trapped. Changing this trajectory requires more than a casual resolution to be better with money. It demands a commitment to the specific, often uncomfortable, analytical steps that follow. The first requirement is the total clarity exercise. Print out your bank statements from the last 30 days. You have to face every transaction in writing to understand exactly where your income is disappearing. Sort those expenses into these 3 containers: fixed survival costs, debt minimums, and lifestyle wants. Pay close attention to the smallest blocks in the wants container. For the next 7 days, log every non-essential purchase between $5 and $10. This micro-tracking is the only way to expose the psychological blind spots that drain your monthly cash flow. Seeing the reality of these numbers provides the raw data necessary to fight back. In Part 2, we will use your audit to apply a mathematical system designed to eliminate your debt and stabilize your household.